Ooh. I've been singing since I'm like 2, 3. We used to have a swing in my backyard, and my dad would like push me, and then I would sing in the swing. Yeah.
I love that story.
And I would sing to my Barbies. I have a video where I'm singing to my Barbies. I had this like pink Porsche Cadillac. It wasn't a Porsche, but it kind of looks like it. And I would put her in there, and I'd be like singing. Yeah. So the songs that I remember is when I used to travel to. We used to go to Italy a lot on holiday. And my dad would play like Johnny Guitar Watson, India Arie, Stevie Wonder, a lot of old soul, and that's kind of how I started singing. And then the first proper song that I sang in the studio was a song by, I never know how to pronounce her name, Sarah Bareilles? And she had this song called Love Song.
Okay.
And you would like I remember her music video so clearly because I thought it was so cool when I was 9. You would put like a coin in a machine, and it was like an arcade kind of vibe, and then you would enter her world. And I'll be singing in my uncle's studio, and he would be like, "You need to have your own sound." So I was like, "Why are you so annoying? Like, I'm just trying to sing." And then now looking back, I'm like, yeah, it's actually really good that my family was already starting early by telling me that I shouldn't sing how other people sing, but just do my own thing. Well, I always joke around that I want to be a pimple popper, because I just love those videos so much. Like, me and my dad, we had like a Beamer back home, and we would put it down, and then we would watch like pimple videos and then play it back if we found one really entertaining. But that's not really a career path I would go down. But I would say possibly something in fashion. I love styling as well. I think definitely something creative. I've tried to do the academic side. I did a psychology thing in Holland for a little bit. Well, I went to a matching day, which is where you can see if it's a match. Well, it wasn't a match. After one day I was like, yeah, I'm out. See you later. So yeah. I like India Arie because of the way she writes songs. It's a lot of empowerment music, which is what I like. I loved Amy Winehouse. I think she was great, and I like that she didn't really care about all the politics in the industry. Alive, you know what, I've never really been a super fan of anyone. Like, I've been to one like big show, which was Justin Bieber, but I didn't think it was that like, I liked it, but it was alright. I'm not so sure. Alive, I feel like I get inspiration from everywhere, to be honest, and from other people's stories and stuff as well. So yeah, I don't know. I've met celebrities and stuff, but I've never been like wow or something. They're just humans at the end of the day. So
I think you can draw inspiration, but you're not a super fan. Yeah.
No, not yet, but you know what? Maybe some really hot guy will become famous and I'll be like, woo! But yeah. So I've put out 4 singles now, where my first single had 2 remixes as well. One amapiano and one drum and bass. But I've just released a song called Good Times, and there's a very interesting collab for that song coming up, which will probably be out by the time this is out. So I'm really excited for that. I'm working on a project. I want to put out an EP. I'm working on putting out more singles as well. And just trying to always create stories around my songs in terms of content, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's a process that you just have to keep doing to get better at it. Yeah. I find it hard that I'm from a different culture sometimes, and I'm very direct, and I feel like for a very long time people didn't really get it, and I'm now at a point that I feel like I found a way to like be myself, but also nurture that. Like, it's so hard when you blend cultures together and people can approach stuff differently. So I feel like that's sometimes hard, because I came here when I was 19 by myself, and I didn't have, I've never been part of British culture, and obviously British culture consists of so many other cultures. So but I feel like now that I'm in a space that I use my stage as a place where I'm like, here everything is fine, and here I can just mess up, I can say what I feel because it's part of my art. So but yeah, that's a journey everyone has to go through. I feel like that's not just something you do as an artist, but it's just when you get older you just realize, you know, how maybe you say something but you don't mean it like that, but it can come across like that. So it's just finding out new parts about yourself that I think is quite hard, and especially as a woman in the industry as well, you know, like a lot of the times when people become successful, it's not just about the music, but it's also about the way that you look and you know, how you position yourself. And obviously a lot of my music is very much based on female empowerment, but also empowerment in general. So I feel like when I brought up my first single, a lot of people didn't get it. They were just like, why do you call yourself that? And I had to kind of really position a lot of my videos and talk about the song more in a way that people would understand that it's not, that word is not a negative thing in my song. But also I feel like as an artist you have to kind of make people think, and that's what I tried to do. So when I wrote that song, Look Mama, I'm That Hoe, and it was funny, I used to live in Camden at the time, and I met a roadman on the street, and he would always come and see me busk, and I saw him on the tube, and he was like, why do you call yourself that? And I was like, well, you call other people that as well. And I was like, do you even know what the word means? And then he said to me, yeah, it's a woman that sleeps around. I said, is it? Go on Urban Dictionary. So he took his phone, went on Urban Dictionary, and a hoe is someone that's get paid for sex. I said, does your mom get paid for sex? He was like, but you can't say that about my mom. I said, but you're saying about someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's mom even, and you feel alright saying that. But then when someone claims it and says it about themselves, all of a sudden it's a big thing. So I kind of wanted to take the word and really make people think about what they're actually saying, and that if I call myself that and I feel comfortable with that, then that's fine. I don't really care what the rest says. And yeah. Well, I just also feel like because of social media, honestly, like once you start going into these topics, it's so toxic, and I'm just a bit like, I feel like people nowadays look at each other and have such quick judgments on things that is none of your business. Because at the end of the day, what you do with your body is your choice, and if that has a certain consequence for yourself, then that's for you and not for anyone else to have an opinion on, you know. Because I always think to myself, when people do this kind of stuff, I'm like, how does it better your life? Do you make money from this? No. Does it make you happy? Not really. Do you get an orgasm? No. So yeah, I definitely believe I am, but I think that with the right person, you show different sides of yourself. So I feel like a lot of the times when I feel like it's a very, like, I see it with my friends sometimes, right? They've been through a lot of, you know, messed up situations with guys, for example, and then they start saying every man is trash or something like that. And I hate it when people do that, because I feel like that comes from a place of being hurt. But then there's so many people that are gonna love you. So I feel like once you have that mindset for yourself, it's then really hard to meet people that don't have that mindset, because you keep thinking about the mindset. You're gonna attract that. So I feel like everyone has like a very confident side, and I feel like you need to have that. You need to have boundaries, especially in this entertainment industry. If you don't have boundaries, it's just everything's gonna go to tits. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, tits up.
Yeah, everything's tits up with a capital T. So yeah, you definitely need to have boundaries, I'd say. However, with the right people, you can show your vulnerable side. That's why it's so important to have a good team and stuff of people that get you. And yeah, so I definitely think I am, but I want to use it in a way to like show to other people that it's also okay to have like a more vulnerable side. That's I always say crying is very strong, even though I know a lot of same for guys, you know. I love to see men vulnerable. I don't think that should be something that's like special. They're humans. Like, we all cry and we all go through stuff, but we need to give each other a platform to do that in a healthy way, I'd say. I think I really like the lyric, and you can go and speculate when I fly by. I feel like for a very long time in my life, when I was in high school, I already had like my own style and stuff. And I have this really big, like, I'll show you kind of mentality in me where I'm like, back in the day I used to be, you know, bullied for being different, and now it's actually working in my advantage. And I've never thought I was different, but when you grow up in a place where a lot of people are the same, they're gonna make you feel like what you're doing is different. And then when I moved to London, I realized that there's a lot of people that are like me and that I'm not different. I just wasn't in rooms where people would build me up but rather tear me down. And I feel like now I finally found people that we all embrace each other's individualities and stuff like that. But I just think that's so funny to say to someone, like, because that's what people always do, isn't it? When you walk past or drive past, you know, whether that be they speak about your outfit, your, like, you can always tell. And one thing I would definitely want to say on here is, like, not always when people look at you try and fill in what they're thinking. Someone might think, whoa, she's really nice, or she's really cool, or they might think it's not for me, but it's not always negative. And I feel like a lot of the times when people stare at you for a long time, we tend to always go for the negative thought, whereas most of the time people just look. Sometimes they even just look without a thought. So yeah, that's the one. I've got a lot more music coming up. I've been building my catalogue for around 2 to 3 years. But as everything, you need to strategize songs. You need to see, you know, how does a song hit? How does it not hit? It's about finding your sound. It's about, you know, finding the right people that you work with in terms of like videographers, team and everything. So I've got a lot of more music coming out. I'm gonna work on my merch, which is not just, I want my merch to be like something like that everyone feels like they can be part of my world, if that makes sense. I've got a lot more shows coming up, hopefully more features, because I love doing features with people. And yeah, yes, I can. I'm super grateful to be the cover girl for the month of June. I feel like what I love about this platform is that it celebrates all different kinds of people. And when you look at Standard magazine back in the day, especially, if you weren't a size 4, 6, yeah, you could just, you know, you could probably model for Amazon, and that's probably as far as you could go. But what I like here is that you can, you know, I pull up with my blue hair and I can be on the cover, or, you know, someone else has a very special story, they can be on the cover. And I think it's just another step in my journey as a musician, because there's so much more to my music. I don't want it to just be my music. I want it to leave a certain kind of, I want people to come to my shows and then feel like they've been heard, and that they can, you know, feel empowered, and that they can kind of, like, how I write songs is I want to turn my pain into something beautiful for other people. And the same for myself. Like when I wrote Look Mama, I was in such a bad place. But now 3 years later, I love that record and I don't look at it in a negative way. So I feel like doing stuff like this where you can put that message forward whilst, you know, it's obviously for my career really cool that I can do this, but at the same time I would love for other people to take something from what I'm doing instead of just being, oh, I'm on the cover, because at the end of the day that's really cool, but it's what you do with it, I'd say. So I'm really grateful, and I can't wait to see the cover, and I can't wait to see all of this. Let's hope I wasn't too crazy. And yeah, thank you so much for inviting me as well. Fuck. That was so easy.
That was so easy.
That was so easy. Do people ever say something else? Hi, I'm Marley and you're watching Femme Fatale TV.